All right, everybody. I am Andrew Baydala. That is Jordan. We are live for No Dirt, Just Dialogue. It's been a busy week here. It is Super Bowl week here in the United States and wherever you may be. We have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New England Patriots. Go Hawks. Just not a Patriots guy. All right. Worked many Super Bowls. They're always a blast. I actually am going to catch a flight here in a little bit to head down to California to make sure that things go smoothly in terms of ticketing for some of my high-end clients. But other than that, it is a busy week in the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. We saw, in my opinion, a major upset. Again, a lot of stock in this man, it seems, in AEW. His name is Andrade. We'll get to that. We also have in my opinion, one of the greatest, if not the greatest professional wrestler potential retirement. We don't know. I don't want to speculate here. We're going to do a little bit of that, but I don't want to know. It seems like everything we're reading and seeing, he is done that, being AJ Styles. And we have a WrestleMania main event 100% locked in and confirmed after Royal Rumble. And we saw Roman Reigns win that Royal Rumble along with Liv Morgan. Jordan, busy week. But before we get to all that, how the hell are you?
Man, it has been a busy start to my Black History Month, but a good one. As we were talking earlier, I'm gearing up for as you're getting ready to go to the Super Bowl, I'm gearing up to go to Revolution here soon.
I'll be home for the Super Bowl. I just got to make sure that I get some other stuff done down there that everyone's all set.
What do you? So you said Hawks. What you got a prediction for the final score?
Oh, so as you know, I'm a Jets fan through and through.
Yeah.
But I worked for the Jets and I worked for the Seahawks. So I do root for the Seahawks. I just don't live and die by them as I would the New York Jets. And I say live and die by that, get kind of tongue in cheek. I talk to Blake Mitchmore every day. He's one of my closest friends. And I said, I think the Seahawks are going. Yeah, he's okay. I think the Seahawks are going to win by at least 10. Now, and I say that because a lot of people are kind of discrediting the Patriots and everything else like that. Listen, to get to the Super Bowl, you got to have a good team. And the New England Patriots have a very good team and a very good head coach. And coaching is everything in the NFL.
But that's Seattle
everything. That again, and I think that the Patriots offensive line is going to pack a lunch. They're going to have to pack a lunch because they are in for a day with that Seattle D line. And I just think Seattle's too much right now. If Seattle, this is not a knock on Sam Darnold either. But if Seattle had like Jalen Hurts playing for them, this game would be an absolute blowout. And Sam Darnold's a very good quarterback, but he's a very good, systematic quarterback. And maybe he changes the narrative on Sunday. But for me, I think Darnold's better than May. And a lot of people will hate on that. But I do believe that 100%. Darnold is better than May. And again, Sam Darnold has Jackson Smith and Jigba to throw the ball to. So, and very good running backs. But Patriots got Stephon Diggs. Drake May has Stephon Diggs. So for me, long answer long. I think Seattle up by 10.
I got them winning by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and you know what? The Patriots are probably going to come out and shock us just like they always do. I have worked so many Super Bowls and been to so many of them in the past 15 years where New England's been a part of them. Tom Brady has won them, whether it was with the Bucs or the Patriots. The one Super Bowl my wife went to was the one here. That's one of the last Super Bowls I actually attended because once you go to a couple, you just want to watch the game on a television screen. But everybody should, if you can, go to one. She wanted to go for the halftime show, and she saw, in my opinion, the greatest Super Bowl that I've seen in the past 15 years. Philadelphia and New England here in Minnesota.
That was a hell of a game.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a game. Yeah, that was a hell of a game.
Justin Timberlake was the halftime performer, and he was great, but I told my wife we could have went home and watched this, and I could have given you $1,000 to go watch a Justin Timberlake concert. But she was all about the Super Bowl. She wanted to experience it, and I understand. So we did it. Sure, I get it. And I've been blessed to be able to do what I do for a living. So with that being said, I'm going Seahawks. I think the Seahawks will get the job done. I think it's a crazy turnaround too, for the Seahawks and their fan base. They lose out on Geno Smith, and they think the world's coming to an end, and they bring in Sam Darnold. He looked pretty damn good. I think what happened over the past, 7 to 10 days with their GM, the Vikings GM being fired, was justified. I mean, you let Sam Darnold walk out the door. So
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'll say this about the Patriots because I was talking to my brother about this the other day. It's kind of storybook that the same year that Bill Belichick is kind of denied his Hall of Fame entry, that the Patriots also make it to the Super Bowl without him, without Brady.
Yeah.
When for the first 2-3 years without Belichick, they were terrible. Everybody called the Patriots. They were like,
Well, it's all coaching, Jordan. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a shot at Gerard Mayo, but I mean, he just wasn't any good. He wasn't, and he didn't seem like he resonated with the players, and that happens. I mean, it happens.
I say that as a Cowboy fan, so trust me, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I like Shoddy. I liked him in New York as an O coordinator, so I don't have no problem with Brian Schottenheimer. But you got to be a leader of men, and a lot of coaches are just not that. You got to really command that locker room, and Vrabel does that. So
Vrabel's a great coach. So Sunday it'll be a hell of a game. I'm very excited for it. It's gonna be great.
We'll end with the Super Bowl talk with this. What is on your menu for Super Bowl Sunday, and then I'll give mine.
Ooh,
it's a staple. Okay. What has to be there?
So for me, I'm very simple when it comes to Super Bowl. Finger foods, and let's start off with wings.
Oh God, I have wings for everything.
But like wings for the Super Bowl are paramount. But then I would say it outside of that, I mean because that's a golden one, golden rule-esque. For me, I would say nachos.
Okay, I like that.
I love a good dip. I love a good nacho. Being able to nachos are very important for the Super Bowl.
I like that. So for me, wings are absolutely a staple. They're a staple for every PLE. Every Sunday we have wings here for Football Sunday as well. So I do wings. I do them two different styles. Obviously on the Super Bowl, I'll do buffalo and I'll do barbecue for those barbecue lovers. But if you don't like buffalo, get out. I don't like it. Get out.
You gotta go. Yeah,
if you're a kid, you get a pass. And if you're an adult eating boneless chicken wings, they're chicken nuggets. Get out. Get out. But I mean, it is what it is. So East Coast wise, my family, and some things like stick with you, right? They just do. And the Super Bowl parties that my uncles would throw, my dad would throw as a family stuck with me. And they always had subs or heroes wherever you're from. So sub sandwiches. So they'd get the party sub. They get the party sub, and it would be an Italian one, and the other one would be an American. And that obviously has, depending on your deli, the different types of meats. The Italian was always, salami, provolone, roasted red peppers, that type of stuff, prosciutto, whatever. And then the American was ham, turkey, and roast beef with American cheese. But that stuff, stuck with me. And it was always like a staple. So that is always on my Super Bowl menu. There's not a good deli out here in Minnesota, so I make my own. And this is small flex. All my neighbors ask me, hey, can I have a sub for Super Bowl? Because there's a certain way to make a hero or a sub sandwich.
I think I'm going to go sub this year. You won me over. I think I'm going to go sub this year. I like that idea.
The one thing I'm going to throw on the menu this year that I just love, I just love it because you're talking about finger food and everything else like that. I am going to either make or order Detroit style pizza from somewhere because I love Detroit style pizza. I'm a New York pizza through and through, but that Detroit style pizza just hits for me. So let's get to wrestling. Hawks I say 10, you say 14. I love it. I think we're on the same page. And speaking of page, let's bring in Juice.
Hey.
Hello.
Juice.
Oh, thank you. It's been a long couple of weeks.
Yes.
A lot of snow. A lot of snow to dig out from. A lot of stuff to do on the shoot work front. But we're here,
brother. We are here. Right. We are here. Juice, I asked Jordan, so I'm going to ask you. My menu was, which you probably heard backstage, was wings, pizza, and subs for the Super Bowl. What about you?
I'd say that's pretty similar to me. I mean, I could eat that stuff any time of year, but I mean, to get a smorgasbord of it for the big game, I always think is quality. I mean, I don't know how much you're aware, but my favorite sub is chicken parm. So I could load up on a giant, chicken parm sub, wings, pizza, the works. Got to have some beers as well. I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, first of all, the beers are always on ice in this house, baby.
I thought, that's always,
with 2 or 3 nice bottles of tequila, and we'll have some bourbon too. You could pick your poison, non-alcoholics, and the stevia or Zevia sodas for the kids, so everyone's happy. No one's all real sugared up. Even though cane sugar is better for you, just saying. But yeah,
I'm a big Woodford Reserve guy, so if anybody wants to send me some Woodford Reserve, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if you guys make it out here for SummerSlam in August,
I will be there.
We'll indulge in that. I'm a tequila guy, but yeah. Speaking of SummerSlam, speaking of what's potentially happening at SummerSlam, that would be some retirements. AJ Styles, let's kick it off there. Yes, Dev, non-alcoholics. The producer's asking. Yeah, non-alcoholics, right. Listen, some people don't drink. You gotta accommodate everybody. If you come to my house, you could ask Blake, you could ask anybody who's ever been here on a Sunday or anytime I'm hosting. There's something for everybody. If you're a vegetarian, I got you. If you don't drink, I got you, because that's what a good host does. Retirement, right? Retirement from drinking. That's what NA people drink. So, AJ Styles, there's a lot to do about this right now. He went on Stephanie McMahon's podcast, which I suggest everybody watch. The show is just very good. Steph does a good job. Cody does a good job. WWE was smart to really capitalize on that market. And basically what we saw at the Rumble was he didn't take the gloves off. He did lose to Gunther. And as some bald fraud predicted, Gunther is collecting wrestlers, as I use the term Infinity Stones. I hope I'm using that correctly, because I think that's correct. Okay. And it's Thanos. And he is collecting them, and I think he will add to it as 2026 comes to a close. And they are now labeling Gunther as the career killer, which is, interesting. A lot of people are like, microwave or reheated Randy Orton isn't doing it for me. And that's not it.
And Mike Awesome also had the career killer gimmick in 2000.
Oh,
so
yeah. Dog, that tweet was hilarious.
First of all, I think I'm going to say this because I think a lot of people will come after me, and I don't really care. Because
they'll come after you for anything anyway, right. Drew. What are we talking about?
Mike Awesome truly was a fantastic talent, and I think was vastly underrated outside of ECW, obviously, because he was the world champion. But Mike Awesome was so damn good. He really was. And I would have loved to have seen a run in WWE with him. Unfortunate what happened, obviously. But him and Taz, I don't have a Mount Rushmore of like ECW wrestlers or anything like that. But Mike Awesome and Taz, again, very, very, and Taz isn't underrated, but I think didn't get enough flowers and really should have done more in WWE, both Taz and I wish Awesome would have had a really, really solid run.
Mike Awesome did a great job being like the last real dominant champion that ECW had, and carried them throughout 99 and 2000, whenever it was kind of just up in the air with what was going on. And of course, Bischoff kind of took that and did what he did to Awesome's character, which is a whole nother pod. We can
into like some like Disco Inferno ripoff.
Well, that's Chick Thriller, that 70s guy. Yeah. He powerbombed one of the ICP members on the bus, and
you can tell when Mike Awesome arrived in WCW, and I think people got to look at him. They were like, okay, we got to bury this guy. That's just my thought, because there's
absolutely.
And people were threatened by him. That's my opinion.
You had to, because
isn't he also related to Hogan?
Yeah,
I don't know. Is he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Either way, I mean, Mike Awesome he was believable, through and through believable.
The thing about Mike Awesome was that he had the best powerbomb in the game. I don't care what they say.
Him and Kevin Nash. I'm a big Jack Knight fan.
Yeah.
And Sid. What happened to Jordan?
I don't know. It says Horace Hogan is a cousin of Mike Awesome. So
okay, there you go.
I mean, you're in the same realm there for sure. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Patriots are going to win. I think a lot of people think that this defense for the Seahawks is going to just suffocate them, and they very well could. But I mean, how many times have we seen this story before of, the Rams in 2001, they're just going to decimate the Patriots as a 14-point favorite. Yeah. And you see what happens. So
listen, the thing that drives me nuts, Juice, is
just give me a good game. Give me this. Give me the same Seahawks Patriots game we saw last time in the Super Bowl.
And the thing that drives me nuts about a lot of like quote unquote experts, you have to have a good defense to still be standing here on Super Bowl Sunday. So let's not pretend like the Patriots don't have a really good defense, because they do. They really do. Drake May just hasn't really done it for me in the playoffs, and I think the Patriots O-line is in for a long night, but we'll find out. I mean, did anybody predict Philly was going to blow out Kansas City like they did last year? No.
No.
So
Although the fatigue from Kansas City playing all the way to the end, how many times over the last 6 years? Like, at some point, they were gonna have to hit that wall.
yeah, for sure.
So
Jordan's back, which is good. Three
Sorry,
best power bombs in the game, my opinion. Sid, Nash, awesome.
I just think that you hit the nail on the head when they're talking about Mike Awesome being the talent being threatened, because he was just as big as Kevin Nash, but more athletic. He had, like I said, he had the best power bomb in till to this day. No one does a power bomb like him. So yeah, I think Eric Bischoff, who's blocked me by the way, saw him and was like, yeah, no, we can't have two. There can only be one. And yeah, let me find a way to, hinder this guy with the dumbest gimmicks ever. Because I mean, come on, Fat Trick, it's who. Because I remember one pay-per-view they had literally the fat lady singing coming out or something like that.
Yeah, they did. I mean, but Mike Awesome embraced every opportunity he had. So
yeah, Mike was. I mean, I'm sure Mike was getting paid very nicely compared to the ECW checks. I would have liked to have seen him in WWE, but it is what it is. I want to say this, and this is not a shot at you, Jordan. It's not
directly at Jordan.
It's not. He mentioned Eric Bischoff blocking him, and it was kind of tongue in cheek. And I don't think Jordan's goal is this, but I just want to I'm going to give a PSA. Not that anybody asked for it, but I'm going to give it anyway. If you are on X and you're constantly coming at somebody, or you're constantly accusing somebody of something, or you're just berating this person nonstop, and it's almost because you want to get blocked as a badge, grow up.
Yeah.
Don't. The funniest thing I see, it's both funny and stupid, is when the people have in their profile blocked by Roman Reigns, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Tony Khan. It's like, bro, grow up. Seriously, grow up.
I hate. It sucks because there's people that I'm blocked by that I've never interacted with in my life, and there's some people that I would like to interact with, and it's unfortunate that I can't even get to that point of like what happened, let alone people that I definitely deserve to be blocked by in the past. And I definitely have grown up, but
I got blocked by
there
Eric.
for a reason.
I got blocked by Eric because rightfully so. We were during a Dynamite. He decided early years of Dynamite, when he used to live tweet the show.
So this block has been for a minute.
Yeah. I was like, hey, why did you live tweet the show if you hate it? And he quote tweeted me. The tweet blew up. It was my pinned tweet for a while too.
Brother.
And we were just going back and forth, and I guess he didn't want to hear my mouth anymore. So, it is what it is. Eric, if you see this, please, I would love to interact with you. But speaking of interactions, because you touched on AJ Styles, let's the fake out with the glove taking off, putting it back on, and then of course the day after we see reports that he may or may not be, like his contract is up, but it's not up. It's, at the end of February. Now there's speculation that AEW may come into the fray. What do you guys make of it?
Again, I thought the match with Gunther in Saudi was a good one. I thought, AJ has done pretty much everything you would want to do at this stage in WWE, besides like maybe a major run with a title attached to it, or a retirement match at WrestleMania. But AJ went out the way AJ wanted to go out, and I'm okay with that because it's his career. He could choose how the hell he wants to end it, especially in WWE. But I don't think this is the last time we've seen AJ Styles. I would not be shocked if AJ does end up wrestling in AEW. I wouldn't. Not to say that I know that Tony's made an offer or that the wagons are gonna, they're gonna circle him. I think it's a foregone conclusion that AJ Styles is gonna receive some sort of formal, informal offer from Tony Khan and AEW if he is indeed a unrestricted free agent. I think AJ probably, wants to. I don't want to speak for him, but would like to have maybe a match in New Japan one more time, or a match in AEW against Kenny, or maybe a TNA run. The one thing I can say is that there was a lot of chatter, and you can quote this, people can run with it. There was a lot of chatter the past couple of weeks. WWE was trying to extend AJ. I don't know the length of the extension. I was told that it was through the end of 2026, like December-ish. There was some rumor and chatter that he would maybe wrestle at Bound for Glory and call it a career. But I will tell you that I know that there is some reservation and some trepidation about AJ Styles potentially wrestling Kenny Omega, whether it's in AEW or whether it's in New Japan from the WWE side. They don't want to see that happen. But at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to be able to control that.
I would agree. And I think that the glove off on thing is AJ Styles' unique way of, I am going to retire, but like, I want to make sure everybody knows I'm leaving the door open instead of just saying I'm retiring and then doing the whole wrestler thing of coming back anyway and just blowing that up. Like,
I don't think he wanted to be John Cena. I don't think he want like where John was like, when I'm done, I'm done. I think AJ is, like you said, going to be honest. And I wanted to add that too, that if there's an opportunity and he deems it fit, he's going to take it. It's a good point, Juice.
And I think TNA is on the table. Of course, AEW is on the table. I think New Japan, everywhere that's available, that's not in WWE, is for sure available. It's all about what he wants to do, how he wants to go out. And like you said, Drew, I highly doubt WWE is going to have any sort of say if AJ Styles says, I want to wrestle Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom, or whatever he wants after he's done with the contract, he's probably going to get. And we all know he can go back to WWE at some point and get the Hall of Fame thing, and it will be no problem. So
yeah, and
I think Triple H definitely respects AJ Styles out of any of the newer crop of guys over the last decade.
And I think that AJ, I don't think he's misleading anybody, truthfully, in terms of like,
not at all.
I don't think there's been any formal like discussion of like, hey, I want to come into AEW. Let's do this like backhanded thing where I retire from WWE. I don't see that being the case. I just think that AJ knows that he's not going to be able to wrestle the Young Bucks. He's not going to be able to wrestle Kenny Omega. He's not going to be able to wrestle Will Ospreay. He's not going to be able to wrestle Swerve Strickland in WWE. It's just not possible in 2026. And I do believe that AJ will be done wrestling at all in 2026. I believe that will be it until his son maybe wants to wrestle, and then maybe he comes back for a tag match or something, or wrestles his son if his son gets to that level. But until then, I don't believe that AJ is going to wrestle past 2026. And when you look around, if he signs that extension with WWE through November, December of this year, he's got nothing left in WWE to do, and he can't wrestle anybody that I named in AEW. So I think there's a high possibility that he could wrestle in All Elite Wrestling against his friends. I do believe that.
So you guys, Juice, you brought up one thing, and I this point here was brought up by a good friend of mine and co-host of mine, Carlos. If he wanted to wrestle for TNA, he would do it under WWE money, right? Like he wouldn't, So because I had him, I pegged him to retire and then finish up in TNA. But ever since that, Carlos brought up that point to me, I can't help but agree because why would he?
He could sign a short-term extension with WWE, but I don't think you see him wrestle in WWE. I think that chapter is, I don't know how they go back. I don't think you can. I think the door was shut. You could have a one-off, but I mean, even then it can't be within the next 2 months. And again, I think AJ probably looked at the landscape. And again, I don't want to speak for the man. I'm just seeing what I could see, and from what I hear and what I've been told, the extension would have stopped him from working with Kenny, with the Bucks, with, Swerve, with Hangman, with whomever you want to name, Will, in AEW. And I'm not quite sure that AJ wanted to do that. I think AJ would have liked to maybe wrestle in WWE through WrestleMania and then call it. And maybe WWE was like, no, we want you to wrestle through Mania, and then you can have your retirement. Or maybe the idea, which I believe was absolutely talked about, which was absolutely presented, was him wrestling his final match ever at Bound for Glory under the WWE money that you spoke at. So, I mean, again, I think AJ is going to end up somewhere this year. I'm not going to pinpoint it and say this is exactly going to happen, but there was a lot of chatter about him potentially wrestling Kenny Omega in backstage at WWE before his retirement was complete.
I'll put it to you like this. If you watched Dynamite last night and you saw the Will Ospreay vignette, in the deep back of your mind, you could not saying you should, but you could think, oh, AJ will pull up at Grand Slam. AJ's good because it's possible to me that all the stars, all the planets are kind of lining up for him to show up somewhere, right? I think AEW is preparing for the possibility of.
I want to state this too, Jordan. You're probably right. I think they're preparing for an offer. I think they're going to circle the wagons if they haven't already. And I'll leave it at that because it's not my job to report any of that stuff. There's good people who do this, but I do believe that the wagons are being circled. I think that anything that AJ would sign is going to be for less than a full year anywhere right now. I think it could be a 6-month deal where he comes in March and leaves in October or November. I think the goal would be, if you're AEW, and what you would want to do from those who have spoken to who would know, is Wembley Stadium. But the problem with that is that if you're booking Kenny and Will, Kenny and AJ is a big money match at Wembley Stadium. But they want to crown Will there from everything that you could see, right?
Sure.
So do you do Will and Max? If you can get AJ to agree, I think Revolution is going to be very, very interesting.
I think you do whatever you can within those parameters. If AJ Styles' his contract ends at a certain point and you can't get the Ospreay match at Wembley, then you say, okay, well, we can have an incredible match with AJ Styles and somebody else on the card, crown Will, and as long as the contract lasts longer than that show, with even one more show, Dynamite or not, put on Ospreay and AJ. As long as you get the match done, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. I don't think it has to be.
And let's fantasy book with AJ Styles and AEW for a quick second. And you can't get mad if it doesn't happen. That's the whole point of the first word, which is fantasy. I think AJ and Omega at Wembley Stadium. You have MJF and Will Ospreay, okay, at Wembley Stadium. 2 big matches for the world title. And then you have the Young Bucks, CNC, and FTR in a ladder match. Those 3 matches itself. And I haven't even named Swerve or Hangman.
There's so many other people
there. I'm not thinking now. If that was, if
and that's what I'm saying. Again, you saw a lot of different things happen, to Juice's point. If you can, this is all dependent on if you can get AJ in and sign it. Then you could flip around and say, all right, Revolution, Max is going to go over. We're going to go Max and Will. We're going to go Kenny and AJ at All In. And if you can't get AJ, then maybe you flip the title to Kenny and you have Kenny and Will at All In Wembley Stadium. But this happens in wrestling. It happens all the time. Taker and Sting was supposed to happen in Atlanta. Fell through. I can tell you right now, Finn Balor versus CM Punk was scheduled for the Rumble. Now it's going to happen at Chamber. They had a match on Raw. Now it's going to happen at Chamber. Okay, the Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre thing. Everything is supposed to be a little. They've switched things up. It happens. And the availability of AJ Styles is going to determine, in my opinion, where you get Kenny and where you get Max at All In Wembley Stadium.
And as long as they plan ahead for that, if we get him, we can do this. But if we don't get him, we have to have a backup plan as well. As long as they're according to all of that and they can come up with multiple plans, this should work one way or the other. Because like you said, I think the main goal of all things you want to strike on this year is having Will Ospreay win the world title at Wembley. I think that's the easiest, biggest moment you can create.
I want to state this. Again, I think there's a possibility. I mean, there's a possibility that I get hit by a bike, a bus, a train when I walk out of my house. All those things are possibilities. I'm not saying that AJ Styles is absolutely working for All Elite Wrestling, but I'm sure the phone call is going to be made. Everything that you would gather from what AJ is stating on the podcast, in the backstage interviews, everything that you've seen, he's done. He's done. But if you dangle the carrot of AJ and Kenny, and it can happen at Wembley Stadium, it might entice him. I don't know. It might entice him. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe he's done. It sounds like he's done. So we don't know.
So quick shout out to Blake. Again, great guy, hilarious. Great guy. But this AJ stuff, it's very interesting. But another thing, kind of to stay on the WWE front, but changing gears a little bit, Raw this past week, pretty great show, highlighted by what I feel was Roman Reigns' best promo since the trial of Sami Zayn.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I thought that promo was really, really well done between those two. I also like that CM Punk. I wasn't on this CM Punk.
What did you like? What did you like about it? What made you sit back? Because I had text messages from people, friends, people in the industry who work for the other company who were like, "Wow, sold. That match is sold. I'm sold on it." So what? Go ahead.
So what sold me for it was so. First off, I like that CM Punk decided, hold on real quick. I know I got this Roman business. Let me go ahead and acknowledge Finn real quick. I love that. But then playing into that, Roman, if you watch, Roman's like brushing that off. It don't even matter. Like, how dare you address him when I'm in the ring? You can just tell by his facial expressions, his body language. But the things that Roman said, like the deep stare in the eyes, the fact that like there is a little bit of real heat between those two. The fact that, like, you know, the things that he was saying, and I know these were written lines, so regardless, it's not a shoot, but it is a shoot that, yeah, CM Punk did indeed make his life harder for the next 7 to 8 years, you know, after that. And I also like the symmetry of, and I don't know, I was talking to some of my guys about this yesterday. Seth Rollins in his promo to CM Punk, I hate you. Roman Reigns to his promo to CM Punk, I hate you. John Moxley, when in AEW, for lack of better words, also said, I hate you. And so I like this idea because if you go back and if you do a little bit of history on the Shield storyline, kayfabe wise, not, you know, what CM Punk has told us, but kayfabe wise, if you guys remember, Paul Heyman was the one who brought in the Shield to help secure CM Punk's championship win. Right? That was the story. And so I love seeing all of those kind of parts play out, and just the visceral. I'm not trying to beat you for the championship. I've had plenty of championships. I'm not trying to beat you because you're on Netflix. I'm in movies, right? I want to beat you because I hate you. And I think some of the best feuds in wrestling are built off of just pure hatred. Like, look, I'm not trying to beat you because I'm better than I want to beat you because I hate you. And I felt it. Like, I felt it. I'm sold. This is probably the first Roman main event match that I'm like really like locked in for a long time.
Yeah, real sells. There's no doubt about it. It's in anything, real sells. When you could, you know, the whole family thing, like Family Feuds sell, you know, when people are like, I don't like you because dad loved you more than me or whatever, that type of stuff. Or you got all the opportunities and I didn't. Big brother, little brother, the Owen Hart, Bret Hart stuff sold. Family squabbles always sell with the Usos and Roman and et cetera, et cetera. So any sort of realism in professional wrestling or anything absolutely sells. And I liked the promo. I thought the promo back and forth was fantastic. I thought this was one of Roman Reigns' best work, to your credit and your point, Jordan. Again, CM Punk went on Kay and Adam's show on Super Bowl Row and kind of basically said, there's no real beef between me and Roman. There's no real bad blood. And it still didn't like not sell the match for me, because at the end of the day, we're going to have some verbal jousting, and I'm sure they're going to throw some things in. And I'm sure there's a little bit of realism. I liked in what Roman was saying. I liked that Roman called Punk Phil, because it just felt different. It felt real. And again, you know, people have used their quote unquote shoot names before in promos, but I mean, it does something different. And obviously when you're used to them saying CM Punk or Roman, I mean, Punk can go back and call Roman Joe and we'll see what happens. It's been done before, so we'll see what happens. But, you know, kids watching it, because a lot of, you know, my son's not going to watch Kane Adams in the morning or anything else like that. And I'm not going to show it to him because I'm not going to ruin the facade or the work or whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't know what else they could have done. I thought it was fantastic. Again, some bald fraud told you this was the way that they were going, and I think it's the right call. There was also the talk of Roman and Seth, but at the end of the day, you can't sell any tickets right now for Roman and Seth because you don't know if Seth is going to be 100% ready. And we'll talk about the mystery attacker from the Rumble on Braun Breaker, but you got to make sure you can get one match. And immediately, as soon as the match was made official, they announced it. They plugged ticket sales on their socials. Be there, this and that. Smart move. Roman and Punk are going to move tickets, and it's going to be a great match. And supposedly it's main eventing night 2. I'll wait on that one. I'm not quite sure. But at the end of the day, I don't care that Punk went on a WrestleMania or a Super Bowl podcast and kind of, quote unquote, pulled the curtain back on the WrestleMania match. It doesn't bother me at all. Juice?
So I thought this was spectacular. I thought this was Roman Reigns' best work by himself, that he didn't have Paul Heyman even in the ring. He just did it on his own. And, going bar for bar with CM Punk is very difficult to do. CM Punk's one of the best to ever do it on the mic. And Roman Reigns has done so much with the bloodline stuff, and you can call him part-time, whatever, but he's here right now, and he killed it, I felt. And you guys talk about real or whatever, but I just like the fact that it's a simple fact of storylines that legitimately happened that we aren't changing the facts of. CM Punk was champion for 434 days, acknowledged. The Shield was brought in to help CM Punk keep that title and reign, acknowledged. Punk's had a thing with Mox. He had a thing with Rollins, and now he gets the biggest fish of them all, Roman Reigns. And the fact that he said I have a 434-day reign. You had 1,316 days. Just because yours was longer doesn't mean that it's better. These guys just sold it without having to do anything else than talk facts in kayfabe and kayfabe only. And I think it will be night 2 main event. I don't see something else main eventing night 2. And the last point I'll say is I'm so glad that this, quote, secondary title is getting the panache of a Roman Reigns CM Punk match, because it's been second fiddle for 23 years.
That's how you know that the three of us have good chemistry, because Juice has no idea where I'm going. Juice was late, first of all, and me and Jordan talked about something that was going on in my house before we got on the air. So we don't dispel anything. We don't give a rundown. There's no sheets. It's all organic. And I was going to bring up the fact that both of these men, if you want to really break this down and you want to get super critical, came off hypocritical in this promo. 100%. Very hypocritical. Because Roman said he doesn't give a shit about the secondary championship that they made because nobody could beat him. Now he wants it. Very hypocritical, okay? If you're looking at this from absolute downright realism, and there's no blurred lines, and this isn't professional wrestling, which is a work. And also CM Punk said, congratulations, go work there when you could be the, buy one, get one WrestleMania. And here he is crying on Unreal, being the night 1 main eventer. And now he's going to main event again on night 2, same city for WrestleMania. But at the end of the day, people say things. It's wrestling, dude. It's wrestling. And at the end of the day, Roman knows how to get over and how to get heat, and he knows how to get the crowd on his side, and he knows how to basically put them in the palm of his hand. He's one of one. There's very few attractions in professional wrestling. Roman Reigns is one of them. CM Punk is one of them as well. I'm going to put him in there as well. There's very few, though. Very, very few. And again, I just think it's very interesting that a lot of these, people and a lot of cretins on social media, what a bunch of hypocrites. Wrestlers say everything and anything to get you to buy tickets and buy the show. All right? All right.
Well, I want to point out something, because everybody who's saying that it's hypocritical. One thing I want to point out that Juice actually just pointed out, and Juice, fantastic point. Telling facts in kayfabe in wrestling is a hard thing to do nowadays. A lot of the times in wrestling, wrestlers or just the company itself likes to rewrite their own history, right?
Or forget it and just not acknowledge it at all. This is a nice way to just acknowledge what legit happened. Good for them.
And they talked about facts within kayfabe. So keeping within the facts within kayfabe, Roman Reigns, he just said he never mentioned anything. If you pay attention to the promo, he never mentioned the title. He never said anything about that championship. He just wants to face Punk. Punk just so happens to have the championship. To get to Punk, he just so happened to have to beat 29 other people in the Royal Rumble. So it's for Roman, his motivations are different. Like and that's what I love about this particular story and that promo. It sold me on the fact that everybody loves to throw out the term, oh, this feud doesn't need the title. This perfectly encapsulated that phrase. Because if you put the title, if you take the title away,
they did that last year.
They
the
did.
triple threat, but they did that
with
last
a third
year.
person. But
sure.
I think he's just saying that this match could happen anywhere, and we would be just as hyped for it. It just happens to be for the title. And to my point, it's for the lesser quote unquote title, which I think gives it a little bit more, juice.
To your point, Jordan and Juice, they don't need the World Heavyweight Championship attaches. They didn't even make the promo about the World Heavyweight Championship.
That's the best part.
Roman happened to win the Rumble, and Punk was the guy he wanted, and he so happens to be holding a championship that Roman has never won, technically. Okay? So there's that. And again, Roman being the face of Raw makes a ton of sense, especially if you really break this down, because that's what I believe will happen after WrestleMania. Roman will be the World Heavyweight Champion, and he'll be on Raw and all this other stuff, because Roman and Cody, the power struggle, and Roman and Triple H, it's real. It's as real as it gets, okay? And I'm sure all of them want the best and the success for all this and that. But if you don't believe that there was a little bit of real in Roman's words on Pat McAfee, you're crazy. And again, they took this promo and they thought to themselves, all right, the Pat McAfee stuff worked. Obviously, Triple H and Roman are going to shake hands, kiss babies, politic, and get the job done, which they did in Saudi. But if that worked so well, we do a little bit of this on Monday Night Raw. And they did. And it worked. People are into it because they use their real names. Or he said he hates him, which normally you don't get. Or who do you think they called? You were a problem. You took a 10-year vacation. All these things are facts.
Great.
Facts.
That was great.
But if you don't think they were cleared, you're an absolute moron. And talked about beforehand, you're a moron. Okay?
Oh, yeah. No one's shooting here.
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's okay. It's okay to have that be the perception. And I'm not here to ruin that.
Yeah, a perceived shoot. A perceived shoot works 1,000% of the time, because 100%. We all know, but we're still entertained. So what the hell is the difference?
I have people who text me, my buddies who don't watch professional wrestling, and they're like, "Yo, I love Unreal," and I'm like, that's and they're like, "Yeah, I know it's staged, dude. I'm
also a work.
Right? It's a work. It's a work within the work, But I mean, they like it, and it is entertaining because they show you different aspects of things that you don't normally see. And this works too. You don't normally get this. Every promo is very cookie cutter. It's generic. I wanted the main event WrestleMania. I wanted to win the world title. That's what I'm going for. Punk and Roman went in a completely different direction, and I loved it.
No, and I think that's why, you encapsulated why the promo worked. It's because the championship isn't necessarily the focus. It's a byproduct of this feud. And I think that is a merit to them. Like you and I were talking yesterday, say what you want, WWE's firing on all cylinders right now, right? And so speaking of all cylinders, something that we mentioned and talked about, the Masked Attacker at Royal Rumble. There was a couple of stills that got caught. People are starting to make their speculations on who is under said hood and mask.
Does it matter, Jordan? Does it matter who was under the mask at the show, considering they could have anybody?
No, it doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter to me at the time. No, because I think that's so. Let me point out, and I'm glad that you said that. We as wrestling fans, and even in the smaller circle of the internet wrestling fans, love to take out our X-Acto knife and cut, nitpick, split hairs.
For sure.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is the actual reveal coming at the end, which I think we can put two and two together on who it is supposed to be. But
I don't know how clear cut it is, man. I think it could be quite a few different people.
Well, let's talk about it, because I think it's supposed to be, again, so I'll tell you who I think it actually was Logan Paul. I think that's who it actually was. Right.
All right, stop. Because I love the theories, no pun intended here, but it's very clear. It's very clear on what they're doing here. Okay. If Seth is ready to go, that will be the guy who's revealed, who took out Breaker. And I'm sure he's going to come with a new group. If he's not ready to go, I'm sure this could be the defection from within, whether it's Logan, whether it's Jake, that type of stuff, because then it could be different. Then you can have Logan versus Braun at WrestleMania. You have to do something with Braun, and they protected Braun in the Rumble. So it's either going to be, is Seth cleared? Can he go? Yes. Okay. Then let's do this way. Let's have Seth be the person behind the masked man, not the actual masked man. And it's a defection from within, which they'll lead you to believe it's Seth, but it's not. And if Seth isn't ready to go, then the masked man will be revealed as, I believe, either Logan or Jake, and then Paul, that is. And then you can have a Logan Paul versus Braun Breaker match at WrestleMania with Jake Paul in his corner.
You know what? You sold me, and the reason why you sold me, if we go back to the Monday night previous when Braun was in the Vision were allowed back into the Rumble, there's a backstage segment where they're kind of game planning. And the first person that says we're going to get behind Braun was Logan Paul.
Yeah, he says, I think Braun should be the guy to win. And they all agree.
And what I'm saying is, this is a brilliant move by WWE. Obviously, that person doesn't fit the stature of Seth Rollins, but you can't tell, okay?
It doesn't matter either.
Right. And they're all under a hood, and people have criticized Triple H. They do this. It's black hood, black pants, whatever. Who cares? It leaves you guys doing what you're doing right now, which we're talking about and guessing. So at the end of the day, I believe what the plan would be is, again, Seth Rollins. If he's good to go, it's the backup plan. If not, that's the plan. The backup plan would be Jake or Logan, and you have a match at WrestleMania. But all this does is ensure that Braun Breaker will have a singles match, if he's healthy, which I believe he will be, and I hope he is, at WrestleMania, and it kept him protected in the Royal Rumble at number 2. Because who's going to throw out Braun? You couldn't have one of the Vision guys do it even by accident, because then it's too obvious. This was a very
Braun Breaker
way.
Braun Breaker should have got eliminated during the yeeting.
Yeah. But again, I think the plan is Braun versus Seth if Seth's healthy.
If it's Braun versus Seth, great, because then that keeps Braun heel. But if there's a dissension from within, I would be very interested, because Braun Breaker, I think it's shown that he's a better heel than he is face. First off, I'll go ahead and say I think a lot of people are it's easy to be a bad guy. I think it's very, very easy to be a bad guy. So I'm not saying that as a knock on him or he doesn't have the ability, but his NXT face run was great. But when he turned heel and went main roster, he skyrocketed. So I would be very interested to see, if there is dissension from within, a Braun Breaker face run, on the main roster. I'd be very interested to see that, because he wouldn't have a Paul Heyman speaking for him anymore. So
the fans love Braun Breaker no matter what he is on the sheet. So
for sure. And again, I think
it's going to work.
That's the plan. The plan would be to have, the masked man beat Seth. If not, they could easily do Logan or Jake. I know a lot of people would think, it's Grayson. Well, Grayson might have played the guy who did the curb stomp.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was very clear as day.
If your big reveal is Grayson Waller, right, I think you have some other things you need to figure out first.
And I mean, listen, the Royal Rumble did a lot to kind of give you where we're headed for WrestleMania. One is what you saw on Monday night. Well, what you saw on Monday Night Raw, which is Punk and Roman. The others are very obvious, in my opinion, too. Seth and Braun, if Braun's healthy. Okay. You also have the original Grande Americano versus the Imposter. That's absolutely going to happen at WrestleMania, in my opinion. And you also have Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar, which is on the table. You saw that.
So I'm glad you brought up Oba.
The biggest Royal Rumble winner of all time. Oh, wait.
I wanted to transition into a little bit of Oba talk, because one, I want to talk about his Rumble performance, and then there's an interesting thing that happened on Monday that Juice, you and I are going to disagree on, respectfully.
Oh, I can't wait. I've got some opinions. But
his Rumble performance, I thought giving him that spot was amazing. Like, for one, it tells me they have a lot of confidence in him, and he has a lot of confidence in himself. You could see it. He's becoming more.
I'll let you guys know Giannis has been traded.
Oh yeah.
To who?
Dodgers. I just had to do that to you guys. Sorry.
Because I already said that he wasn't gonna get traded. So
Yeah, I
was like, wow, they really flipped on that fast.
I think the only destination for him was going to be New York or Miami, and I don't think the Knicks wanted to pull the trigger. I'm sorry, Jordan. Go ahead.
No, you're good because I will
derailed.
tell you this. Yes, I live in Dallas, but I'm an Oklahoma City fan first. So I am as happy as I am sad right now. So, you destroyed one contendership team to bolster up another. So I'm okay with that. But like, I feel so bad for Kyrie. Oba Femi, that spot that he had in the Rumble where he was just destroying everybody, I think that says a lot of, about the confidence in his trajectory in the company. I mean, again, he's technically a rookie.
He's got a rocket ship.
I mean, the biggest rocket ship you could possibly see or think of right now. I loved his performance in the Rumble. I love the spot.
What was the back and forth I saw on social media? I don't know who it was that Oba was not protected in the Rumble. Like, what are we talking about?
What?
He got dumped out by two of the bigger stars, if I'm not mistaken.
He was made out to be a monster. He got the most visual airtime next to Roman Reigns that I can remember, and Jey Uso. I mean, and they literally did 2 promos touting how well he did and how NXT took over the Rumble. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Oba is to the moon. To the moon.
Yeah, no, I don't understand how you could not like his performance, but followed up by Monday Night Raw, though, I didn't like that. Taking out and this is where Juice, you and I would disagree because you made a good point. It does make him look great.
Yeah,
but at the War Raiders' expense, they're former champions. Why?
All right. Okay, but I'm gonna no. He addressed me. So
I know. Can I just say something about the War Raiders?
Go ahead.
You two can go back and forth about this because I don't give a shit.
I know.
Here's 4 men who could absolutely, because everyone always talks about how, man, I wish these guys would get out of AEW and go to WWE. The War Raiders and the Motor City Machine Guns would do wonders to get out of WWE and go to AEW.
Agree.
Go ahead.
And I'll say that's my biggest takeaway is we don't even know their contract situation. They very well could be on their way out of WWE. And I think it is more impactful for Oba Femi to take out 2 guys that have been established, been in WWE a long time. Quote, they are the former world tag champions than just local enhancement talent that they've done forever. Considering Brock Lesnar did the same exact thing to the Hardy Boys when he debuted. And my other problem is, when have you ever been so defensive of the War Raiders? I did not know you were the biggest War Raiders fan.
Right.
And
I'm all of a sudden a War Raiders shooter.
And to expound on that, I went and did research, and I have these 3 receipts. You've never talked about the War Raiders or Eric or Ivar solo ever.
I'm glad you did
that.
And
Here's the other thing, Jordan. Truthfully, had Oba not come out and dominated, or if he had a really competitive match,
imagine if he just lost.
Everything you did in the Rumble was for nothing. Just like with Gunther, everything you did up to that point with AJ Styles was for nothing. Same thing with Andrade and AEW. If you have him lose to Kenny Omega clean, I mean, what did you build all this equity and that was it? And
I'll say that too. Whatever Oba does next has to be on an ascension. He can't take a little step out. So I'm curious to see what they do.
A lot of people, which we'll get to here in a couple minutes. So make sure you stay tuned, locked in here on Final Bell Media for No Dirt, Just Dialogue. That's Juice. I am Andrew Vidala. That is Jordan. A lot of people, which we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes, the AEW Dynamite main event. It has gotten more press outside of the professional wrestling bubble than any AEW match I can remember besides the Sting retirement. NBC News picked it up. TMZ picked it up. And I understand because of the chant that was taking place during that match. But they still feature Brody King and MJF and AEW. You can't buy that press. So go back to this whole War Raiders thing because it doesn't matter. We got a dominant victory.
No, I will say this, and this yes, I'm not the biggest War Raiders guy. No, I'm going to be honest with you. Could care less about that. Ever since that Clash of Clans entrance, I was like, no. But to your credit, yes, they did do this with Brock and the Hardys. To compare the Hardys and the War Raiders, insane work. But I just think that why not do it with somebody on a lower stature? Like,
War Raiders aren't tag champs right now, so that's why
they're
they are
not.
lower stature.
They're not. And to your point, I was going to say Tozawa and Otis, but they are contenders now, so that would hurt their
they're
spot.
About to be challenging for the tag titles.
And you don't really have. You could have did it against The Miz and R-Truth, or something like that. Like have Oba just, I don't know, but when it just looks a certain way when you're a tag team and you've been tagging for a while.
I get that, and I'm a fan. Yeah, and I'm a fan of the War Raiders. And by the way, Big Graps, I did look. He has never tweeted about Hanson or Rowe either. So any incarnation of these two men, he has never brought them up.
Never.
And I'm a fan of them. I'm a fan of them, and I just never thought it was a Barry.
Just so you know, I don't know what's going on, but we have no.
I see video.
Oh, I don't.
Well, no, we're good.
It's just a green. I think it's a green screen. All right.
I see.
I'll be quiet. Go ahead. Continue with this pointless debate about the War Raiders.
No. It's I like the spot because again it makes Oba look great. I just it's like, man,
I just see people complaining about like how WWE can never like establish new stars, and they not only did it with the Rumble, but then they doubled down on it and had him beat a credible tag team. And it's like, all right, now you got a credible guy that did this. Like, can't we celebrate how great that was instead of being like, oh, boy, what the War Raiders are going to look like after this? They're never going to challenge for the tag titles again.
I didn't want a competitive match. I didn't want a competitive match. I really didn't. I didn't want a competitive match after what we saw. Not to mention, I mean, like dominant victory, important month.
What I would do with him. If you're not going to do the Brock Oba match at the Rumble, I mean, not Rumble, but Mania, what I would do personally, I would have him keep doing that. I'd have him go 2-on-1 at Mania and destroy somebody.
Well, I mean, we got to figure out what Gunther's doing at Mania before we just throw Oba and Brock together, because I would love to see it, but I think you need, not to say that Oba doesn't have equity, but you need a little bit more equity. And is Brock wanting to retire in Minneapolis? I don't know. We don't know.
Gunther, if Gunther's not in a title match, I'd wager he has to be in a high profile match that he more than likely has to win to keep this ascension going. And if it's not Brock Lesnar, then who is it going to be?
And I see a lot of people saying Gunther versus a re-debuting Jericho. Is he retiring Jericho?
No.
I don't see.
Give me Jericho and LA Knight. Come on.
Yeah, we're gonna find out what they do with Brock Lesnar. But if they decide to go Brock Lesnar and Gunther at Mania, and maybe Brock gets the victory, then you can have a story to SummerSlam. Hey, the last time you beat me was, you beat me, but put your career on the line. When people put their career on the line with me, they lose. And there's your rematch where Gunther ends up taking the career of Lesnar.
And I think that's a great idea. Yeah. That's easy to.
We'll have to wait and see.
But to make the transition
still on the War Raiders.
To make the transition to last night, Dynamite happened. Fantastic showing. We had a kind of packed Dynamite. We've had a packed couple of weeks of AEW.
Sick venue too, by the way. Let's just shout that out.
Great venue. Great venue. Great use of the venue. I will continue to say that. I will also say, again, from anybody from AEW, if you are watching, thank you for your residency here in Texas. I went to 2 shows. The first and the last, absolutely amazing. Tony, especially, he jam-packed the last one because there was the snow, or rather the ice.
You always get your money with TK. It's just depending on how long you're going to be there for.
Another match.
I was there for a while, but great showing. But on to last night, again, we had a kind of packed show. There was a lot that happened. And I kind of want to start with Andrade.
Yeah.
Andrade, what he is doing in AEW right now is possibly the best work of his career since Black and Gold NXT.
Sure. And I agree with you, Jordan. I think whoever advised Tony, he's a smart man, or maybe it was TK himself, to capitalize off the buzz that they had with Andrade showing up, and then he had to be pulled, and then everyone's like, the big bad evil WWE, all this other stuff, and now they're using it to their advantage. Andrade looks incredible. He's stockpiling major wins that don't hurt any of the guys he beat. Omega's a made man. Swerve Strickland's a made man. If he beats Hangman, he's a made man. And what that does is that makes another man, and that would be Andrade. Again, just like the Brody King situation. Max was distracted and took a quick loss. All that does is help Brody, and that makes him a legitimate contender. Will he win in Australia? Probably not. But Andrade has the utmost stock that has risen in AEW since I can remember. I don't know. I can't name another star over the past besides Will Ospreay who's been booked like this.
Maybe Takeshita at a point where he was just like on a rapid ascension.
That's a good one. But it seems as if, and it's the right call, you need somebody else, fresh face in that main event scene. And Andrade looks the part, he wrestles the part, and he's got somebody to talk the part for him. So let's run with it. I don't hate it.
He is, again, I love this gimmick that he has where he's this kind of ladies man, within, the Don Callis family at AEW. He has, these beautiful women kind of following him around from city to city. His performance, he keeps stepping it up. Like, I don't know what it is about, because if you asked me last night, you could just tell in his intensity. It's like, oh, that's a pay-per-view level performance. Like, he's pulling it off. He's pulling out all the stops. Yeah. And you're right. I think Tony is absolutely a genius to capitalize on the buzz around having Andrade back into the fold.
Sure.
And so, because a lot of people are like, oh, why is he getting this all of a sudden push? Oh, I saw someone say, I can't.
This is a great comment, by the way, because when I saw that venue on TV, I was like, man, that looks like old school Hammerstein. So I like that.
Yeah. Seeing Andrade in this spot, I'm very happy for him. They've capitalized on the buzz that's around him because of, where is he going to, and also it also helped that before he showed back up, he was everywhere.
Well, and Jordan, to your point, I mean, and Big Graps put this, the producer put this on the screen. This is from Big Graps. He says, AEW's been getting behind different talent, and it's been great. Brody King, Champa, Andrade, as an example. Yeah, that's really never been an issue with AEW. It's what they do after the initial push and the initial wins and everything else like that has people being like, but they've and they failed at it. But the Andrade push has really never been done besides a guy like Takeshita. And Takeshita has remained in that top tier main event kind of talent. So I'm hoping for the same from Andrade. Brody King would be great because Brody King's huge and he's believable. He is absolutely a monster. And, Champa, Christ, I like Ciampa's work since Black and Gold. And I think his character is vastly underrated. And again, a lot of your popular streamers really showed their hand when they didn't even bother to comment on his debut, which I stated last week, because they know they were a fan of him before he showed up in AEW. So,
yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, you can't name me a match from his. I'm like, there's so many people that love Champa. I don't know why they weren't.
That whole Gargano feud in NXT was fantastic.
Yeah, there's so much there, and he's been around for a very long time too.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that was, but yeah, you're right. People were showing who they are.
And he's got a big match on Collision, making it a big deal. He won the TNT Championship, his first match in AEW. I thought that was the right call too. Jordan, what did you think about that? Because I stated you don't want to bring this guy in, have the equity, and then all of a sudden he's going to lose, even by disqualification. If it looks like
being there in the building that night, right? Mm-hmm. First off, he comes out. First of all, I'll just say being there in the building, that crowd was amazing from start to finish. But you felt this energy, with his entrance and the music, the lights go out, he walks out, you feel this energy. And that match itself, kudos to Briscoe, kudos to Ciampa. That was a hell of a match. You said it to me, but I'm like, there's no way they're actually going to do it. And they did it. And it was a nice, pleasant surprise. And I'm seeing the value in having him win first because there's, like you said, made men. Briscoe's a made man. This isn't gonna hurt him. He's okay. And
nobody even thought Briscoe would win the TNT Championship, and let alone he had a little bit of a reign with it. So be it. They took it off of Fletcher and moved on from it, and fine.
Well, then what also was interesting in that was Fletcher coming out to kind of look at, which tells me that Fletcher is still in that fold, which is great, because you mean to tell me Champa Fletcher is on the deck? Oh my gosh, give me that. But it was a great moment. I was legitimately shocked. I did not think that they were going to have Champa go over like that. Great match, great for him. That promo following after with his wife and his daughter, I thought was a very nice touch.
Yeah. And then backstage with Tony and even with Briscoe. Again, I think, to your point, Jordan, this is something AEW needs to do. You can't constantly book for just next week. We need to book for next month, the next 6 months. How are we getting there? Who's like Ciampa debuts and he has a TNT title match and then he gets screwed. People are going to lose their excitement. They're going to lose the investment in him almost immediately, because then all of a sudden he's thrust into a different program, and he answered the challenge that Briscoe threw out, and then he won it. That's great. John Cena did this with Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens was off to the races in WWE. And they're not comparable, but it's the same type of thought pattern. You have to do this type of stuff if you want people to give a shit about your talent that are debuting or re-debuting or coming back from injury. All that stuff.
Yeah. Juice, what did you think of Ciampa's TNT title win? Debuting TNT title win.
I mean, it's a good point that Drew made of, like, they AEW brings in all these guys and girls, and they might have a great start, or they might even start slow, and it's a build up so you get there, like a jet speed, like Kevin Knight, like some of these guys, like, they debut with a lot of fanfare, but they don't maybe get the push that resembles it. This is a guy that's been established in legit old school Ring of Honor all the way through to, WWE NXT, all the way into WWE, and now back to kind of a old school type of like more wrestling style that he is used to, and going directly in and winning that title, I think solidifies that championship as kind of like a workhorse title. You get some of these guys in there. I know the world title and all the other titles could be classified as workhorse because of the type of wrestling AEW is, but specifically there with a guy like Mark Briscoe, these are your old school veteran OG Ring of Honor guys. And I really like that for them. And it also makes me wish, maybe not wish, but just kind of think, like, what would have happened, and it could, maybe eventually, but what would have ever happened had Kevin Steen shown up in AEW? Because he'd fit right in.
He thrusted right into the World Heavyweight Championship title picture, and probably out of the gate, because, no offense to anybody else who's over there right now in AEW, with the exception of maybe one, he is the most visible and eyeball driven star you're gonna get if you were to leave WWE.
Kevin Steen has history with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Kevin Steen has history with Champa. Kevin Steen
he's got history with damn near everybody in there.
Yeah. With everybody there. So don't get me fantasy booking. That would be a great get if it were to ever happen. But I think Kevin's locked in for a while, so that's not even a possibility. But something we were talking about mentioning got mainstream media attention. Obviously, I think we know why. But Brody squashes, or as some people like to say, jobbed MJF last night. I thought it was a great bit of storytelling. One, because first off, let me say, and I think we've said it before, I hate eliminator matches. Not a fan of it. Not a fan, because more often than not, the same thing happens. The challenger beats the champion just to go ahead and lose at the next match. That's fine. Let me go ahead and say something on that, though. Wrestling has always been and always will be cyclical. Sure. You're going to see the same things happen over and over and over again. It's a tale of story as old as time. So I'm not necessarily too upset. I would like for them to kind of change up the pattern a little bit. But I'm okay with Brody, what he did to MJF, because, one, it just helps continue to build the stock of Brody King. Tony, they say Tony has a problem with big men. And he kind of does. That's why we see, we saw Royce, go off to greener pastures. So I can understand this notion of not being able to book big guys. Well, this is it. He did exactly what you would want him to do for a big guy. Because if I'm Brody King, 6'2", 6'3", 260, something, why wouldn't I squash this little guy? Why wouldn't I just pick him up, throw him down, and pin him? People want to complain about realness and whatnot. That's as real as it gets, brother. That's as real as it gets. So I'm not upset. I am very interested in how the rematch will play out. And I think that is the point, because there's been the word of MJF possibly having a stable. I think this is the time.
We've been hearing about that for like 6 months now.
Right. I think if we were going to have that, this would be the time, because he clearly needs the help, right? Because otherwise, I will have to agree and say, well, how do you book the rematch? How do you have the rematch? Okay, I'm focused. I'm not going to be distracted. Now I'm going to have a competitive match with you. I think MJF's going to have to bring a little bit of firepower of his own to help him against Brody.
Or just do like him clamor for no interference whatsoever. And if anybody interferes, they lose any future opportunities at the world title. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that, you say you don't like eliminator matches, and that's a fair point. Yet last night, 2 of them turned into future matches. So now you can believe it a little bit. And that's all it takes is one to be like, well, it can't happen.
Well, Juice, this eliminator match made all the sense in the world. Brody hadn't earned anything. And, Max said, you want a title shot at me? You got to earn it. And Tony Khan said, you know what? Not a bad idea. You could beat Max. You can get a world championship opportunity. Makes sense.
And when there's no like finite, let's go by the wins and losses, because they have been doing that. There's the only way to get back to earn something is by an eliminator, because it's so damn convoluted being like, well, this guy has a win over them, but they lost to them and their record's 5-3. And like, or can you beat the champion? Great.
What
then you can find him again.
Ric Flair used to say, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? You stated, about Royce Keys and everything else like that, and how, you believe that Tony has a problem booking big men and all that other stuff. Okay, maybe. Don't know about that. What I can tell you is what seems to be reported all over the internet today, which I told you, I don't know, Monday, that Royce Keys is going to be headed to SmackDown. I know a lot of people were, living off this report that, oh, there it is. I don't know what to tell you. We told you on Monday. So, just saying, it is what it is.
I said that, you give 3 hours to SmackDown.
Yeah, you need stars.
You to give you some new stars. Let them breathe on that show and get acclimated to this audience.
That's the word of the day, is behoove. It behooves you to go watch some professional wrestling over the next couple days. So go do that.
Hold on, Blake, because I gotta say this to Blake. Yeah, I live in Dallas, but absolutely.
I will tell you that Blake is not originally from Dallas, but he does root for all the Dallas teams. So, anyways, but I think he's been there for a while. So, I did get a text last night. I wanted to touch on this. Then we'll be done here. We'll wrap up. Joey Janela's Spring Break will be the Sandman's final match in Las Vegas. So Joey Janela goes from Sabu to the Sandman. Seems like he is crossing off all the ECW legends.
Yeah.
I doubt we're going to get a Joey Janela, Rob Van Dam match in Saudi Arabia, but maybe when WrestleMania comes back stateside, you could probably have that. But it just seems, I like it. Joey Janela is wrestling all of his favorite wrestlers from ECW. God bless him.
Joey Janela is winning at life. Let's rephrase that. With a tag team that showed up and showed out last night in the Eliminator match that, he may or may not have history with both members of that tag team.
Both of them.
Right.
That man's got a killer's row. All right.
Yeah. And the fact that he's getting to do this, I'm so happy that, especially with how things turned out, that he got to do Sabu's final match, and it was a pronounced final match. And now Sandman, why not give it? Like, you see how it goes. I'm really starting to like that even on the independent scene, you are going to start seeing wrestlers that want to have a pronounced final match because they can and are able to, instead of it just being taken away So I don't care what show it is. Give me Sandman's final match. I don't care.
That's a great point because we're now in an era and age where wrestlers are calling their shots, right? They're saying, you know what? No, I'm done here and that's it. Because we've seen growing up, you know, where a lot of wrestlers never really knew. They just kind of had their last match and then went off into the ethos. So I love that we're seeing wrestlers say, you know what? No, this is it. You know, come watch me, come watch this final match. It not only brings attention to them, but it's an opportunity for us to give them their flowers while they can smell them. And I think that in a business where these people spend hours away from their families, put their bodies on the line, you know, of course, mental health on top of that, it's really nice to be able to give them their flowers while they still can smell them. So kudos to Joey Janela. I don't know which ECW legend would be next. Like you said, maybe Rob Van Dam. Who else is still?
You could do. I mean, Tommy Dreamer does some spots. There's plenty of different guys that have gone through that. I could see doing that as a pronounced thing. And again, you see it happen once with Sabu, and you see what happened and how unfortunately it wasn't, you know, too long we lost Sabu. I think a lot of these guys want to have a great final moment that can be looked at in a positive light instead of maybe their dark side of the ring being the last thing that's talked about them. You know, I think it's great to have that opportunity. And Joey Janela is a student of the game. He loves the industry, but that ECW, like that underground thing, he's helped get GCW to that level. And this is the 10th spring break. I love what he's been doing. I was at the first 2 spring breaks. He's just doing a great job. So shout out to Joey Janela.
Yeah, they sell out quick. So make sure you grab your tickets for Joey Janela spring break GCW. It seems like all the floor seats are gone. It seems like there's only general admission left. So jump in. Shout out to Joey Janela and see what happens. What else do we want to talk about here? I don't think there's anything else too. We've kind of touched on majority of the rumor and innuendos. Juice, what do you got?
We got Backlash coming to Tampa, so we know that there will be Backlash. What is it, like 2 weeks? Oh god, that video.
Boy, isn't that very convenient? You know, somebody who's possibly coming back lives in Tampa. So just saying. Yeah, I could see a Elimination Chamber date, you know, reemergence, and then Mania, and then Backlash. It's a very easy schedule.
Yeah. So that's been announced. It was kind of reported today that the Royal Rumble seemingly will be back in a United States or at least North American stadium for 2027. Drew, do you have any idea or where you would like to see it?
I think the Royal Rumble. Sure, I think the Royal Rumble is absolutely going to be here in the States. Cities are going to start, and states will obviously start to bid
Dallas.
on this. But I will tell you that I would assume they're going to go back to either ballparks or stadiums. The arena shows for the Rumble are done. They've floated a 2-night Rumble around, but I think it's been met with some hesitation and some pushback.
Rightfully so.
I don't want to see a 2-night Rumble. I really don't.
SummerSlam's the only one I'll keep.
When was the last time WWE had a major show in Texas?
WrestleMania 38. 3 years ago.
If you ask me.
And didn't they do a Saturday night's main event in Texas?
At the AAC, I believe. Oh, no. Dickies Arena. Yeah. I would love to see them back at AT&T.
I'm sure they would love to go back to AT&T.
Oh yeah, I mean, if Dallas is, you know, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be about bids. But I can tell you that Saudi Arabia is getting WrestleMania. They're not going to get the Rumble next year as well. So you know, it is what it is. I also saw the rumor, which I shot down weeks ago, about John Cena going into the Hall of Fame this year. I said no way.
Yeah, it's absolutely too soon. They can hold that for as long as they need to. They got other people that can headline that they can progressively, you know.
Who would you headline this year?
If it's
Who
not
is headlining this
year? Stephanie's been the only person that's been announced. I don't know.
I would say Batista, but I don't think he's going to do anything with this admin.
I was just about to say Batista is my next one up. Who should headline? I can't. My biggest since we're on the question,
the Hardys maybe if they were wanting to do that. I don't know. But they might also do a run like Drew has been.
I got a great Hall of Fame question. I've been wanting to ask this. Andrew, you're one of the closest people in the industry. Why isn't The Rock in the Hall of Fame yet?
He doesn't want to be.
Real, just straight like that. Okay.
Well, just not yet. I'm not
Yeah,
sitting
like
here
he'll get in there. He'll probably want to finish up and do his, one last match pronounced, assuming he's not going to do any other ones, and then probably go in, which is why I said they don't need to rush Cena. Like, they have so many more, and the longer it goes and you don't have these headliners, they're going to start putting in more teams, and you're going to have like tag teams or like random things that people complain about. So you want to make sure you can fortify the top heavy of classes.
I think what you're looking at more than likely is a Stephanie McMahon, Bray Wyatt, Hardys, and then a female. And I don't know who that'll be, but Stephanie is a major headlining female. So they could add another one. But I think the Hardys, I think Bray Wyatt, I think Stephanie, and I think they'll go one more maybe. But you got to remember, they're going to jam pack a lot.
There's got to be an older legend that they haven't, put in.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few that still haven't gotten in. I mean,
right? They always trot out an older vet, from the 80s or 90s.
And they could, they very well could do Jericho. Jericho could come back and they could put him in the Hall of Fame. They could do that as well.
Isn't Sid? That would be not in, is he?
No. Who? Sid.
Yeah,
Sid Vicious, Sid Psycho,
no.
Sid. No.
Yeah, see, that's someone that just recently passed that they could probably put it again. Unfortunately, posthumously, but you wanted that 90s guy. There you go.
You put him in as Psycho Sid or Sid Vicious?
Oh, they'll probably put him in as Psycho Sid because that's what WWE had him
Sid,
as.
Yeah.
That's that is whatever.
They met Sid Vicious for a little bit too, didn't they?
Nope, Sid Justice.
Nah, Sid Vicious was all WCW. Yeah, Sid Justice.
All right.
There it is.
Well, again, good show here. I could easily see, if you want to just end on the Hall of Fame, I think Jericho, obviously, I think could be a part if he's back. But I would say the Hardys and Steph and Bray Wyatt seem to be people. And listen, Demolition deserves to be in here too. We know that. But I just don't know if it's going to happen. So I want to thank the over 2,000 who have joined us live. Over 2,000 on X. Over 100 here on YouTube. We thank you very much. That's Juice. I'm Andrew Badala. That is Jordan. If you guys have any questions, get them in now. We're going to wrap up here in the next 3 minutes. We'll answer them as fast as we possibly can. Good week in professional wrestling. Again, I like what we saw on Monday Night Raw. I liked what we saw on AEW Dynamite. I even liked what we saw on NXT. We saw Joe Hendry win the NXT championship, which was almost a foregone conclusion. A lot of people thought, Royce Keys will end up in NXT. I don't think Royce Keys is signing that WWE contract if he had to go
to NXT.
I'm not knocking NXT. I just think that I just don't see.
We didn't touch on his. What do you think about just really quick? How did you feel? Because there's a little bit of discourse about the Powerhouse Hobbs.
I loved it,
and then Royce Keys. You're okay with that?
I like the acknowledgement of who he was because in the unreal era that we are living in. Yeah. People are going to say it anyway. And I think it's going to establish him a little bit more. If you say
I think a lot of people,
the guy formerly known as, then they'll go look him up and go, hey, he was here, but now he's here. Now he's Royce Keys.
And to Juice's point, Jordan, I think a lot of people misinterpret how much reach this guy, and it doesn't matter where they come from, has when he jumps over. Like the small pocket of wrestling fans, the 10% of the IWC or less than that, 9 or 8%. Of course they know who Powerhouse Hobbs is. They know who Big Will Hobbs is. We get it. But all I'm saying to you and everybody else is that my son only knew who Hobbs is because there's an action figure of him downstairs because he's a friend of mine. And I had it because that's what I do with my friends. I put him downstairs in the basement and all this other stuff. And Jackson, when he saw him, he's like, Hobbs. He's like, where have I seen that? He's like, that's from AEW. And it was very smart of them to utilize that because a lot of people don't know who he is. Now, Hobbs' debut, Royce Keys' debut, if it was in the States, would have gotten an insane reaction because there's no AEW in Saudi Arabia, from what I was told. So it makes a lot of sense. So again, I don't hate what they did. I thought it was brilliant, truly brilliant, because you couldn't debut him without some sort of acknowledgement of what he had done the past 3 years.
Especially for the pop. Like even, in a a non-AEW necessarily crowd, that might not know him, just seeing the name, you've probably seen the name as a fan, and you got to get that reaction. Otherwise, you'll have him coming out with less fanfare, like a lot of the women did, because of their music wasn't unique or anything other than Brie mode, which, that popped me too.
Yeah, the surprises were kind of meh. The Bellas being back is what it is. I mean, the women's tag team division, and they desperately need some fresh faces in there as well. So why not have the Bella twins go ahead and do that? But at the end of the day, a lot of people were left disappointed with the surprises, and I get it. It seems like, they had a plan, they're sticking to it. And again, you got to remember that trip for Saudi Arabia, which I said it's going to be hard to do surprises, is 16 hours long from the States, for majority of, your United States there. So it's hard to do that. And it's hard to convince somebody who might be making a one-off to show up on a 16-hour flight to do
I ain't getting on that plane.
But a lot of people are also drawing the conclusion that Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, could be next to the WWE. And I truly don't see it. I don't know what Bryan would do.
The vocal gymnastics from professional broadcaster Michael Cole to do everything in his power to not mention Bryan Danielson by name was incredible.
Yeah.
Because, everybody knows it. They're even saying the yes
probably
chant
the best work of Michael's career.
Come on. And he's like, you know who it is.
Bryan could go into the Hall of Fame, but what the hell? He's not wrestling anymore.
Yeah,
he's not going to wrestle in AEW. I doubt he would have a match in WWE. Maybe you could add him to the list of people Gunther retires if he does decide to have one more match.
I don't see it.
But I don't know.
We got some pretty great questions here in the chat.
Yeah.
And
we'll answer this one. Question for the three of you. What's your favorite tag team finisher of all time? Doomsday Device for me.
I got to go with the most protected finisher of all time. The 3D. No one has ever kicked out of the 3D.
Is that true?
Yes.
For a point. I think someone did kick out at some point, but that's why it was so crazy.
Yeah. There's like 4 moves left in wrestling that have never been kicked out of, with Baron Corbin's End of Days being one of them, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, put
the burning hammer is the only one, which is now a defunct.
You're not a EVP trigger or whatever that is, fan?
No, there's been kicks out of that. Yeah. I would say
I'd say the Doomsday Device is pretty good. I mean, you never know where they're going to land, and that's the fun of it.
And you can hit it on anybody. Question, Drew. So do you think that we will get a 3-way match with Liv, Steph, and Raquel at WrestleMania? I think, again, so I'm going to book this 4 or 5 months down the road, not just to WrestleMania, because I think you got to look past that. I think Liv wins at WrestleMania in a singles match against Stephanie Vacour. I think they crown Liv, and I think then you can have a feud with Liv and Raquel that could last you all the way till SummerSlam if you do it right. Raquel gets jealous, should have been her, blah, blah, blah.
I'd also sprinkle in Roxanne, because there's
I'm just saying there's a lot you could do.
Infighting on the Judgment Day is always going to play as long as they're there.
Yeah.
Thus why I agree with you that with Finn Balor and Punk at Chamber, you can have Finn, who's going to be viewed as a babyface by the end of it, probably because Dominic Mysterio will cost him that match. And then you have those two wrestle at WrestleMania. So you can set up a lot with the Judgment Day based off that.
Agreed. I believe that's it. I think that's it. Any more questions?
I saw one that is interesting. They said, and we already talked about it before, but it's a great way to also, bookend. Somebody asked Super Bowl snacks. I said at the top of the show, yeah. Again, I'm a big wings guy.
It's gotta have snack, Buffalo. Jordan.
Oh, well, it's not if we're going snack, then I guess.
What are you gonna? You kind of back him into a corner though, Drew. What is he gonna say? Bag of chips. Like, come on.
There's many different flavors of chips.
Yeah, I know, and dip and salsa. I know. Queso.
I'm not a Ruffles guy.
You know what? Juice is he gets a big can of artichoke hearts from Price Club, and he just sits and eats it on his couch.
If we're going snack, there's a staple. It's called puppy chow.
Oh yeah,
hear me out.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so yeah, delicious stuff.
Yeah, my wife makes it.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you know what the Price Club is now,
it.
Drew?
Sam's Club?
No, Costco.
Is it?
Oh, they
Okay.
sell it now? But
Yeah.
but
It
see,
used to be the Price Club.
It's got a homemade. It's made from the heart. You know what I'm saying?
Well, sure.
Oh,
sure.
well, I mean, you got to remember that this is my wife and her family are all Midwesterners. Before I came out here, I had no idea what puppy chow was. So I was like, oh, so you guys are just eating diabetes in a bowl. Got it. You know? and then you have it and you're like, oh, it's not bad.
I also wanted to say shout out to Hannibal for filling in this very comfortable seat that I'm sitting in last week. So
he did his best. He had a RoboCop shirt on.
Hey, that's close. That's wrestling. It's
yeah.
WCW, Capital Combat 90, the return of RoboCop.
Yes, he did a great job. Shout out to Hannibal, which you will see him and I later today.
Yeah, you will, and the Wrestle Collective guys. And I love like watching and reading some of the things that transpire on the internet. And I'm going to use the example that comes to me all the time with my review shows. And I'm saying this with a purpose. I do my quick AEW Dynamite review. It's like 3 minutes long tops, unless something crazy happens. Then maybe we'll go to 4. Ooh, you get an extra minute of this bald fraud. But I always get the comments under them being like, always an AEW positive review, never a negative one. You don't do anything for WWE and their content, which is complete and utter garbage. I have gone on those shows, those reviews, those quick ones, and say this show sucked. and I didn't understand this, and this was a bad episode. And I say that because I see Jordan and Hannibal and everybody else coming under a lot of criticism for things that they say. And at the end of the day, it's just their opinion. I do ask that everyone critiques fairly because you're in a position where people are watching you. And if you have a bias, then your opinion to me is null and void. And there's a lot of people with a lot of bias. But I will say, Jordan, I think you do a very good job of not having a bias. Although I do know you prefer a professional brand.
Sure.
A certain brand of professional wrestling. So
I think everybody, whether one way or another, you're going to have there's going to be a number one. There's always going to be a tier system. And that's with anything in your life. If you drink soda, you have a favorite soda. Doesn't mean you won't drink the other.
If we go out somewhere and she asks for a Diet Coke, and they're like, is Diet Pepsi okay? She's like, no. Okay.
No. So there's always going to be a preference, but I will say this: I will always be a straight shooter. I have been on record saying, even with a company that I like, I've been on record saying I don't like this. This is bad. This is terrible. And hell, right now, let's just go ahead and say it. I lean towards AEW. Yes, that's just me. That's just my preference. But right now, and I don't think it's crazy to say this, right now, WWE is on fire. They are doing great. The women's division looks amazing. Their main event scene is incredibly interesting, right? And then even if you look
time for it, it's WrestleMania season. This is when they should be hot. So
if you look outside of the in between the ropes, they're about to release a video game, which always does well. WWE Unreal, for all intents and purposes, doing very well. Yeah. They just you don't get in bed with the Riyadh group if there's no money involved. So they're obviously making money hand over fist. So for all intents and purposes, WWE is doing well right now. I have no notes, right? So whether think I have a perceived bias or not, I lean one way, yes, but I am very straightforward. I'm a very straight shooter when it comes to my critiques, because at the end of the day, it's my opinion. You could pick it up and run with it, or you can leave it where it's at. But I am not the end all be all when it comes to a wrestling take. I appreciate the people who do listen, but always listen to me, but listen to someone else. Don't take what I say and run with it. Formulate your own opinion. I may be right, I may be wrong, but what I say doesn't have to be what you say.
And I this is very, cliche or whatever, but I think it hits home, and you should really take this to heart. Lions don't care for opinions of sheep, and that's the truth.
Absolutely not. No.
I just received a DM asking if this graphic that I have in my DMs is real, and I can tell you it is 100% fake, but it made me chuckle. And I wasn't laughing at you, Jordan. I was laughing at this DM. If Roman Reigns and The Rock win, Sunday becomes Bloodline Rules, and it is CM Punk and Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock and Roman Reigns.
I don't want to see that.
I
There's
mean,
no
listen,
part of
that
me that
match could
wants-
happen in Saudi Arabia next year, but I don't know about right
You're a
now.
long way before that
Yeah.
show.
Juice, we didn't get your what's your Super Bowl snack? What do you
Yeah.
want?
Oh no, we did. I mentioned chicken parm subs.
That's not a
And,
snack.
That's
No,
not
that's
a
what I'll be
snack,
having.
remember.
Snacks. I'm a chip guy.
me
I'm a
too.
Lay's guy. You know.
So you want to know what? All right,
Go
so
ahead.
here you go. This is what the Bedala household is serving chip-wise on Super Bowl Sunday. We have 4 different types of Lay's.
Okay.
We have baked Lay's jalapeno.
Baked Lay's are vastly underrated, by the way.
Baked, we have, it's kettle cooked jalapeno. We have baked original Lay's.
Kettle is also good. They're both very good.
We have kettle cooked. I've never seen these before, but we got them. Kettle cooked, all dressed up Lay's.
Oh, all dressed is an incredible flavor. I've had them that aren't the kettle, and they're great. Yeah.
And
I've been seeing this rise in all dressed. What is it?
It's
I think
from,
it's a
I believe it's
Canadian
from
thing.
overseas, Canadian, but yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just not, it's not native to the United States of America.
And my son's favorite, which
One
is
thing I
kettle
like.
cooked barbecue. So that's what we
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong there.
Snacks for me, though, I make 2 different types of dip, and they're my favorites. One of them
as long
is
as you don't
French...
double dip.
No, not a double dipper. Never a double dipper. My favorite is a French onion dip, and my other one is a roasted vegetable dip, and they're both sour cream based. So there you go.
That sounds pretty good to me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
I am ready for the Super Bowl. I'm ready to eat.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready. It's gonna be a good game. I'm very excited.
Juice, final score of the Super Bowl. Let's put you on blast. What do you got?
Oh boy, final score of the Super Bowl. Well, I think they could score a lot, both teams, even though the defenses are what are branded as so strong.
We're not getting a 10-3 Super Bowl, are we?
Or was it 13-3 with the Rams and Patriots
Yeah.
a couple years ago? That was disgusting. Let's go with, oh man, I'm going to go 27-21 Patriots.
27-21 Patriots. You can go straight to hell. Jordan,
Why? None of these teams are in my wheelhouse either. I could care less who really wins.
What do you got, Jordan?
I said by at least 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to, you know what? I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring game. So I'm going to say I'm going to say 27-14.
Say the same score.
Yeah, I'm saying 27-17, so that was very close to what I was saying. 27-17
I think
Seattle.
There will be a missed field goal that will be a determining factor for the game, I think. But the most important question, and I guess we can wrap up Super Bowl, what color will the Gatorade be? That is my favorite prop bet.
Blue.
The color of Drew's hooded liner, red.
Red? Okay.
I'm going to go orange. The classic orange.
I mean, Gatorade tastes better in a glass bottle, but they're not going to be pouring those out, unfortunately.
Oh my God, that's a classic, brother. That is a classic. Or
you even alive for that, Juice? The cans, I know.
Yeah, I was alive for it. I mean, I was alive doesn't mean I activly had them. I mean, I grew up with.
Was I aware? Maybe not.
Yeah, I remember the cans.
Yeah, that's really dating you. But I mean, me as a man of historical importance to anything that had any sort of value. I've Wikipedia'd it and looked it up and done extensive research, no matter how unimportant it truly is.
All right. Well, here I got something for you. We're gonna start ending shows like this too. I'm gonna give you Seinfeld trivia since you're the man. How much? There's a 2-part. How much did Jay Peterman say he wanted to pay for JFK's clubs, and how much did he end up paying for him?
Yeah. What was the first line? Is like, I see no problem in spending $10,000, and then I'm gonna get bullied here because I just remember whenever she's like 15,000, and then Jerry's like, well, I really thought you had her there at like 17,000.
I I can't remember.
I want to
You're
say
100% right on the whole like dialogue that took place.
I want to say 22,000.
It was 20,000. So I mean,
Oh,
you're close
20,000.
enough.
Okay. Yeah. There's just so many that are in that go back and forth in the dialogue that it's
Yes.
tough to remember.
Close
sometimes.
enough. And again, very good job that
Thank
you
you.
remembered the entire like dialogue that went with it. So very good stuff. I'm Andrew Badala. That is Juice Springsteen. That is Jordan Carter. Juice, where can everyone like, subscribe, and follow you? And then Jordan, right on cue, you go next.
At Juicy Steen, argue with me about the War Raiders on Twitter, or we can talk happily about WCW and the fine things going on across the board in professional wrestling. We have the Juice Box Wrestling Podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, and we'll be doing a little Royal Rumble recap, what happened this past week, and that's all I got to say. Go ahead, Jordan. I know you got the Wrestle Collective tonight.
Yes, we have the Wrestle Collective podcast pushing back the start time today. A little busy. We're going on 7 Eastern, so definitely check us out. You can follow me at slick_flair91 as well as WC Worldwide. And while I got this little solo shot really quickly, I do want to say a happy Black History Month to everybody that it matters to, and a little special one for those who may or may not know. My father passed away recently in November. His birthday is on Friday, so I want to say a happy heavenly birthday to my father.
God bless you and your family,
For sure.
Jordan. May your father's soul, may he rest in peace. And my thoughts and prayers obviously were with you when it happened, but they continue to be with you.
Yeah, you were a great point of solace for me, and I thank you for that.
And I wish your father nothing but eternal grace and salvation. Juice, Jordan, myself, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow Final Bell Media. Hit that notification so that when we go live, you will know. I am at Andrew Badala. He is at Juicy Steen. He is at Slick. What is it?
_Flair91.
There you go. They changed that son of a bitch.
Yeah, I got to.
I appreciate all the love and support. 2,000 live on X, over 50 on YouTube. We were at 100 before. So thank you very much. Truly humbling. Enjoy yes, let's put that up there. Can we? Happy heavenly birthday. There you go. From Abel to your father. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy time with your family and your friends. It's most important. That's what this is all about. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys down the road.
Thank you.